The following program is a production of Naleo TV.
Aloha and welcome to my show. Today we're going to paint a koi on canvas. This is a canvas board, stretched canvas over the cardboard here. What we're going to do first is we're going to take my trusty little sponge and we're going to dip it in my paint here. So I've got the blue-green and I've got the light blue. So I'm just going to dab it in there and I'm going to sponge it on here. Try to make sure I fill in all those little fabric holes there. And so you notice I'm twisting the sponge as I go so that I don't get repetitive patterns on here, because I want this to look like the bottom of the koi pond. When I get to the edge here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it around so that I get it completed. A little bit more in there. And see how I'm kind of getting a circular motion kind of going on there right there. I don't want it to look like a flat bottom. I want it to look like there's rocks or whatever at the bottom. Now this, where I'm just going to roll it around here to get that all filled in around there. Cover the edges. So this is actually acrylic paint that I'm doing, but I'm going to do it in a watercolor style, which means I'm going to use the water to thin the paint while I'm painting. It's kind of a neat technique. Nobody else I know uses it, so I could very well be the only one that does it. Now I'm just going to sponge over where I just brushed it in, kind of. And while it's still wet, where does that black come from? It doesn't really matter because I'm not going to use this canvas. I'm just showing you what I'm doing on this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of white and I'm going to sponge it off on my plate here. You can see that I'm kind of moving it around a little bit like that. Then I'm just going to start up here and I'm just going to dot it in, bringing it down here. So this is just going to be a little reflection of the sun on the bottom. And then we're just going to roll over it like this to thin it out so it's not so bright. So that's how you get your background for doing a koi fish or whatever. You can manipulate this as much or as little as you want. So basically that's what that is. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe my hands because I got paint all over. So we're going to take this and put this away and pull the one up I did yesterday. So you can see now that this is all dry and all the dots are on there like that. And there's no black on there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take my trusty little white pencil here and we're going to just sketch this koi fish. So basically it's kind of like an elongated jelly bean or whatever that other bean is. So we're going to start with the fin coming back like this, and I'm going to draw it right in. So this is going to come up like this, go around to the tail, and we'll draw that in there like that. Top of his head, and this. And his eye is going to go right about there, and that eye is going to go right about there. And then we're going to come off of here with a tail. So that gives me my little drawing right there. So now, I'm going to take a pretty good brush here. I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of blue, because I want to put that reflection of the water on the fish. So we're going to draw this in like this. Now I know you can't really see it, but koi fish are pretty much white. So I'm just going to brush that in there like that. What that's going to do is give me a little bit of a shadowy color. Then I'm going to take my white and blend it in there like that. And you can see how it's starting to light up right there. And see how I'm using broad strokes as I'm covering the whole area right there. Now I'm going to take some white, I'm in the water. Oop, let me get that on there. Now I just wet the brush so you can see that it's going on there. See how I'm going to manipulate that white to lighten it up a little bit? It's almost like erasing it. And it gives me a real nice thin white to bring over to the top of the fish like that. What we call translucent. Get the brush strokes out of there. Then a little bit more blue. Here. Again with some white. A little bit of water. See how it's starting to appear really neat right there? Now we're going to come over to the back part of his body. Remember, use that knit paper towel to wipe off the excess that you're not going to need. Cool. See how I'm blending that so it's giving it that rounded shape right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice little trick right here. In order to make the fins look really translucent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my liner brush and I'm just going to go thin here, little thicker as it comes down like this, and then we'll bring it up. This is a pinstriper's technique. What's going to be cool is when I paint the color over the top of it, the white's going to show through, but it's not going to be as bright as it is right now. I am a pinstriper, so you can probably hear my hand as I'm dragging this across the canvas. See, I'm pushing down to get that thicker line right there. I'm also rolling my brush in the paint, so it's kind of giving it that rounded shape right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the top of the fin. So I know where to go to. So that is what that looks like. How cool. And then we're going to go in reverse here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down thick, and I'm going to roll it slightly as I bring that to a point here. Cool, yeah? And you can see the flow of how that fin is right there like that. I think I drew that fin just a little bigger than I need, so I'm going to start bringing that back in right here. It's art, so you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to follow any rules like this. it looks pretty, it looks pretty. See how that, now it looks more even like that? That looks cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and do the same thing on this, I'll call it a dorsal fin, but I don't know what this is called on a fish. But now that dorsal fin kind of flips over right there. So I'm going to come over here like this, and I'm just going to bring this right to that edge there. And then we're going to do this on the inside. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to create, let's use this one. I'm going to take a little bit more blue, and I'm going to put it right over here. What I'm going to do, create a shadow of that dorsal fin as it comes over his body like this. And again, here comes that watercolor style. Wet the brush, and I'm just going to move this around a little bit. Thin it, smooth it out. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the tip, the edge right here, so that we can actually see where the highlight, the sunlight, whatever, is coming down right onto the fish's head. And more water. Get my bigger brush so I can smooth this out of here. Notice how I'm turning the brush sideways to pull it towards me. I want it to be smooth and look cool. Like a nice highlight. See how the contrast between the shadow here and the highlight? That's what you want. You want to see that contrast. This is what makes a painting not look flat. If you remember when you were a kid back in school and they said, hey, paint something, even if you tried to paint a ball, it looked flat. You have to have the shadows and the highlights in the right places. Now this is going to be cool. I'm going to just take the plain old white. We're going to basically do the same thing we did with that, except what we're going to do is we're going to put the scales down first. And see, I'm going right down the center of his body. second ones. Now I'm not going to concentrate on putting scales all the way down the side here because it's obviously in the shadow area, so you wouldn't see all those scales, but we'll put a little bit of a highlight right here so we're seeing the glisten of the sunlight coming down the side there. Notice I'm trying to get them as uniform as possible because fish do actually have uniform scales. Now what we'll do is we'll come up here and they don't have to be perfect or even or the same, identical, whatever, because every scale on a fish is going to reflect that light slightly different. Notice I'm just patting it down to make those scales. Cool. All right. All right, so now let's get this eye. And I'm going to call it his lip. I don't know what this thing is, but it looks like a lip to me. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to mix that with a little bit of blue. Then put that eye right here. Now the eyebrow kind of sticks up a little bit. And there's just a little bit of a highlight right there, so you can see the side of his brain. There, let's rinse that out. Now we're going to grab that liner brush again. And we're going to put his whiskers in. Had a guy came into my shop the other day, showed me a picture that his daughter had drawn when I did the tiki fish hook. I'm like, wow, that's cool. So somebody's actually watching the show and actually learning something from it and having fun. All right, so now let's take a little bit of black, put it in there for the eye. Even though it's on the other side here, this is actually more shadow. I want to put just a little hot spot on his eye. And my favorite koi have big red blotches. This is my favorite koi kind. So I'm going to put a little bit of lighter red in there like that. Now watch what happens here. All right, so now grab a little bit of light blue with some white, because I want this to look real translucent here. All right, so you know what would be cool? Never done this for you, but I'm gonna put a bubbles. Yeah, bubbles. I love bubbles. Blue here. Wipe that off there, and then we're just going to scrub this blue and white together. Now, just put a little tiny highlights right there like that. And then, do the same thing with my liner brush. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a spot so I can put it right there on his eye. And we're going to call this painting done. And there you have it, one watercolor style koi using acrylics. Isn't that cool? And thanks for watching. Hui ho. I'll see you next time.
The preceding program was a production of Naleo TV.